Hi, well, welcome to an interview with Massive Attack in association with The Raft, VirtueTV and NME.com. Welcome to you both. How's you feeling relaxed, settled in?
It's a good start. Bloody phone ringing, isn't it?
You're busy guys.
Yeah.
You obviously look fairly relaxed. Is there a band vibe that's discernible at the moment?
Yeah, I think we're kind of the good thing about we're getting on really well now, me and Dean. So there's a real good vibe in the studio.
Right.
So it's been really progressive. Not it's well documented what happened with Mezzanine, but we're happy, aren't we? I think we're happy.
Happy little bunnies. Do you think? I mean, obviously, if you work in the times I've been up to Christchurch, it seems like there's a really good atmosphere. You're both sort of working hard on lyrics and things. Obviously, that's going to be reflected in the sound of what you're making. Will it still be as abrasive as Mezzanine?
Well, we're trying to hopefully it'll be a bit more abrasive in places and a bit softer in places. Trying to a bit more up and down, a bit of rough and smooth. And I think when you listen back to your own albums, you're obviously so critical. And when you listen back to Mezzanine, it kind of felt that it had a certain mood and didn't really stray from it too far. So feel like we need to kind of sort of don't want something which is too easy to listen to. And I feel our albums, if there's any complaint I got with our albums, is they do tend to have a style each time. And they stick with it.
Definitive sort of feel to the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, albums do that generally. You can't really get away from that. That's the whole idea of trying to make the ultimate concept album, which probably never happened. But
is that what you're dealing with this? I mean, Mezzanine definitely had a sort of a definite feel to it, and Blue Lines and Protection probably did as well. Are you trying to sort of broaden out the whole album? I mean, previously you said you felt Mezzanine sort of dipped in the middle quite a lot in terms of its pace.
It just kind of seemed to settle into a groove in the middle, stuck in one gear. And at the time, it was just we were having so many sort of fucking internal struggles in the band and everything. It was just it was an achievement to finish it. So at that point, we didn't really, we didn't really sort of worry about how it felt in the middle. Even though you always know you can do better, you're never going to be completely satisfied. So what I was saying, I just know already that things have already gone by the wayside in this album.
With this one,
things have been lost already. So this is what you've got to live with. You can't, you do so many versions of each track that you're going to have to let things go, and it's a bit of a pain in the ass. But
do you feel sometimes you're too perfectionist in many ways? You sort of work towards a point that you can't reach. Or
He is.
My worst,
which is
my worst traits.
Which is a good thing, being vigilant about what you do. Like Dee's approach to it. It really does get into this it's kind of finicky, but that's kind of good, because I kind of overlook the smaller details sometimes.
Well, you're dealing broader brushstrokes then? How's your sort of? Is there a lyrical theme? I mean, in terms of the overall tracks that you're working on, is there a definite?
To be honest, lyrics always come last with us. I mean, I think that's a lot of bands obviously start off with songs in a more traditional sense. So it kind of, you can see the way that they sort of develop something from a core sort of theme. Where with us, it's like a lot of music, a lot of ideas, a lot of tracks. Then we sort of then tend to paste sort of like songs to them, So that's why we end up with so many versions of each track. And why it's so hard to finally call it a day or collate it or call it, put a full stop on it.
I mean, you're almost an anti-song in some ways. It's working with sort of different beats and sounds and stuff, collages that just sort of end up as sort of pieces. It's not. I mean, I remember once asking you if you're ever going to write a 3-minute song, and you're just laughing,
Yeah.
In a sort of a conventional pop song.
I don't know. We've never been really. It's never been a conventional. We're not conventional musicians in the sense. It's mostly about imagination, as opposed to skills on instruments and a traditional kind of music upbringing. It's much more sort of. Well, it's fucking different than that. It's just a different history, a different type of working. So it is going to be a little bit more abstract than the average way of writing songs.
Okay. Cool. Right, well, let's cut to a question here from Naya, asks Massive Attack. Which contemporary artists do you find most interesting, brackets, visual arts? Are you a great visual artist, G?
Me? No, not really.
No?
I don't really know much about art, I'm just into music, really.
You know what it's like?
I am music, I am Mr. Music.
You are Mr. Music. Do you buy
No,
art?
not really, that's not true, but, from an artistic point of view,
What sort of art turns you on then, or do you buy art for your home?
No, not in the slightest, no. I don't know anything about art at all, really. The only person I know is...
Leave it all to do.
It's 3D, actually.
I
I'm stretching it a bit. I'm stretching the metaphor, to be honest.
Go on then, Dean. Are you going to reel off a list of...
No, I'm not actually. I mean, I've never been... I like art and I'm really turned on by visuals and graphic images and symbolic images and all that sort of stuff, but I've never been a great sort of like art historian, you know what I mean? And I sort of try and get into what I like, and I often find it, you know, by accident, as opposed to actively seeking out something, bump into it. It's a better way of doing it. It's like books, you bump into them, music, rather than sort of trying to delve too deep in one place. I don't like doing that. I'd rather sort of like just see what comes your way, and you know, sort of things happen. It's more fun that way. You contributed a piece of music to Mark Quinn.
Mark Quinn's. How did that come about?
Just purely through chance. I mean, I sort of discovered his work, you know, by accident again about 3 years ago. Really got into it, and through a sort of mutual acquaintance, we found he was doing this South Bank Show film, and we had some music, so let's try some stuff out. And it's cool. He's a great artist.
And again, he's very visual thing. Is he going to give a?
Yeah, but you know,
a perspex.
Take some of his best pieces off his hands. Some of his more expensive works.
I think so. I mean, the band itself has always been. I mean, you know, these sort of always had a big input into the visual look of what you produce, of the stage shows, the sleeve artwork. How important is the visual image of Massive Attack as opposed to the music that you actually produce?
It's always been important because we've always had it seems crazy to get to sort of find yourself in this really great position and not take an interest in how it looks, what it's wrapped in. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, the first concept you might get with a new album, something from a band, is by the artwork or an ad or something, you know, a shot window display, a fly poster, or a video. You know, obviously talking about moving pictures, but it's got to be. It's all important. Because if it lets it down, it's not really doing justice to what the 3 years you spent in the studio. And because you know, there's so many things coming our way, ideas, and because obviously being visual just means that we collate as many images as we do bits of music. So by the time it's ready to go, you know, there's a lot of ideas already there, you know, sort of that go alongside the album very organically. It's sort of meeting up with a load of sort of like designers at the end of an album going, oh, I like that guy's work, or this photograph. It's kind of crap that way, you know. Some people will finish a record and go, best video director, best graphic artist, best stylist, and it's fucking bollocks, you know.
But you were actually making visual art before you started making music, is that right? Yeah.
But then it was that whole kind of hip hop thing as well. The whole thing was very much, you know, after the punk thing, which was very visual as well. As you know, the way it looked, the way people looked, the hip hop thing was sort of like a bit of a kind of, you know, slightly different evolution, but it was also very visual. You know, it was a lot of it was about the way it looked, the images you saw.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, there's always been a kind of link up with, you know, from the time we were in the Wild Bunch. Yeah. You know, being involved with Dean, so you know, there's always been the backdrop has always been a visual thing as well. So to us, we've always looked at it as the same importance, you know.
And you both sort of always seem to rate Wild Style and these sort of seminal hip hop images as having a very important sort of influence on you as kids growing up in Bristol, and the visual look of hip hop always seems to have a very strong impact on you. Yeah,
of course, because you know, like Dee was saying, that was, you know, that could probably be the first contact that you have with, you know, the graffiti was another aspect of hip hop, you know, that we loved, you know, and sort of music. So we've always grown up with that, and we've always had that as a thing, but it's always developed, you know, it's never stayed the same, it's just, you know, progressed into something else. Okay. You know, it's what we got now, really, which is good.
Cool, okay. Let's cut to another question coming in here. Tony asked Massive Attack, I play in a trip-hop band that borrows a lot from Massive Attack. Stylistically, I was wondering if you see imitation as the greatest form of flattery and condone this, or if you prefer me to burn in a fiery hell.
Fiery hell or fiery hell? Depends, mate.
Fiery,
theoretical hell.
What's the question again, Chris?
Do you want to burn, or is it good?
Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery, or I mean, how do you feel when you hear a band that obviously?
Well, the thing is, we've always been influenced by the things, you know, around us from day one, really. So we kind of take on some time, not necessarily a direct take on it, but you know, a piece of the vibe type of thing, you know, or taking something with us. So I'm not
the
really.
important thing is if it's only worth doing if you're doing it for yourself, though.
Ultimately,
otherwise, you might as well go fucking stars in your eyes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you would.
But no, I'm not necessarily against imitation as such. You know what I mean?
Presumably, you would hope that people listen to your music and then add their own thing.
Yeah, add their own little thing and take it to the stage, really.
And not.
Hold it. Yes, mate. Do you want to? Cheers.
If you don't mind.
Okay, just put it down here, mate. It's fine.
That's all right.
Put it right there, my son.
Well, that's Dee's drinking taken care of.
Sorted then.
That'll just help them out, actually.
Sorry. That's okay.
Thanks, mate. Somebody give him a tip.
He's sweating
Somebody
like
sort
a
the guy with a tip.
You got anything to... Where were we before the...
Just don't start your eyes.
yeah, I mean,